Everybody. Hey, I'm Natalie, and this is Life After a Cult. Could be called Life After a Loss. Could be called Life After, not after menopause, because I'm still in it. Hello. Thank you so much, moderators, for being here. Mama Opal and Northern Girl, I really appreciate it. Northern Girl or Mama Opal, can you hear me all right? I've got the fan going, but hopefully the mic's not picking it up. Okay, fantastic. Whew, we got a lot to talk about today, but how are you guys? If you're new to my channel, I talk about culty stuff, but also loss. My channel's Life After a Cult. Many of you have been with me for the last, oh my gosh, what's it been? A little bit over a year since I've been here on YouTube. Grace Case, aloha to you. Hey, Hermie, aloha. Don Gloves, what a bonus. I'm never sure what time of day if we'll catch you. Hello and aloha, everybody coming in. I figure I'm a little overdue for a good grief chat, and there's been a lot of things I've been thinking about this last week since we last talked about this. If you're new to my channel, I lost my partner, my significant other, almost 9 months ago. Katie did. You never catch a live and you caught a live. I'm excited for you. Hopefully this one won't be too much of a bummer. There's a good side to this. This is definitely, at least for me, is going to involve some Kleenex, possibly an ugly Oprah cry, but there's some good things in there that I've learned. Jody, who? It's coming up on 5 years since my husband died. I get it. Yes. Yes. I would love to hear what you think about some of the things that I'm going to talk about. Cricket Cinema, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Janine, aloha. December, hello. I just love how y'all greet each other and stuff. I'm in my office, the opposite side, the side you guys normally don't get to see, where I'm opposite from where I usually do my live streams. Hey, Arkansas Flamingo, and thank you for being here. Okay, so I've got my tissue. I've got my liquid because all this crying makes me dehydrated. Aloha, Janine. Thank you for being here. Mikey Dubs, hi. So I've got all my accoutrement, all of my stuff, because I'm learning as I do these videos and when I talk about my loss and grief that I have to have tissue and liquid. Two very important things. RSM, good to see you. Katie, I know 9 months seems so long ago, yet it feels like yesterday sometimes. It'll be 9 months in just a couple of weeks on the 10th. I can't believe it. I can't believe it either. Yeah, Janine, I love that menopause video that you sent. That was hilarious. And thank you to everybody who sends me links, whether it's for the channel or it's just something even funny. If it's something that's culty, you can always send me a timestamp and a link or any articles and send it to Natalie@lifeafteracult.com. Katie, yes, time is weird. RSM, the first year is a blur. That's how I feel, totally. Glorfindel West, welcome. I think that most of you know, but we do have a lot of new people on my channel. Like I said, my Tony passed away from cancer almost 9 months ago. It was last June. Is that 9 months? Yeah, it's almost 9 months. Ah, thanks, Mikey. He had a really good smile. So there's been several things that I feel like, you ever have those thoughts where you're going through something and you kind of like, you make some progress and you're like, why didn't anybody tell me that? Could I have gotten to that point faster? And the answer is no, in my opinion, because people Many of you reached out after Tony died and gave me such amazing advice. Janine, I could not agree with you more about laughter. Very healing. Using the amazing memories heal, but grief is still consuming. There is a lot of wisdom that I got from people who reached out who had lost their partners. And in the beginning, which is funny because I'm like, this is what nobody tells you, but people kind of told me, but I wasn't ready to hear it. It wasn't sinking in. I think I needed to get further along, further in the process. And one of the things that I came to realize is that, and I've talked about this with you guys before, that I feel sometimes like, grief is such a burden, and how I don't want to put this on other people, but I'm here right now putting it on you because that is necessary to heal. That is what helps, having people hold space for you, holding space for other people. RSM, exactly. It's not linear. Grief isn't linear or similar for anyone. That is the big thing that I've learned. This whole idea of not wanting to burden people with my grief is something that I'm still working on. But I think those of you who've lost somebody, I think, understand that the pain is so deep, the grief is so deep at times. Why would I want to put that on anybody or have them experience that? And the thing that I'm learning is that's how I'm going to get through it, is I need to lean on and trust other people. Janine, your Tony was so charismatic and touched many people's hearts. Yeah, he really did. He paralyzed to paralyze. Katie says, I didn't want to burden people with my grief, with my cancer, with my depression. It's hard to reach out. That's a lot, Katie. I'm so sorry you're dealing with all of that. But I get it. I absolutely get it. And it's interesting to me that the thing that's hard to do is often the thing that opens the door to it getting better. Exactly, Arkansas Flamingo. That's what it's taking me a while, but I'm starting to trust more that it is okay to talk about it, even though it's hard to talk about. That if it's too difficult for, my friends or family, or even many of you who've been here with me on my channel, you can always step away too. It's not like I'm not going to know you're not there. But that's kind of a big thing, feeling like it's a burden, and I'm finally believing that it's not. I think our instinct is to protect the people that we care about, and even from our own, from our own grief. Janine well said, it's not about burdening other people, it's about sharing that burden with your village. Exactly. That's, I think, a big thing that I've been learning. Dawn, thank you. Thank you, Dawn Gloves. Professor Furberger says, that's my opinion too, Natalie. The bigger the love, the longer it may take to move on, no matter how we think the grief process should be. The other thing I've learned that people did tell me, and I didn't understand it at the time, is that there's no one timeline. My timeline is different from someone else's timeline. Each of us has a different timeline. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Mock, exactly. I'm generally the one keeping it together for everyone else. So opening up with my people can be hard. Yes. I totally feel that. Hey, Donna, thank you so much for being here. You are so kind. So, trusting other people, trusting and leaning on them is something that I don't think I've ever done so much of in my life as I do now. And through this, I think the beautiful thing is that in learning to trust people, I don't think that that's going to go away as I go through my grief. And having grown up in a cult, Scientology, and going through 35 years of that, getting away with 3 generations of my family, you end up with some trust issues when you grew up in a cult or when you've had some trauma in the past. It's not, many of you didn't grow up in a cult, but may experience similar issues with trust and being sometimes fiercely independent, which I've since learned also being overly hyper independent also can come from a place of trauma. You're just like, no, I can do it. I can handle it. I mean, that was totally me for years. And the thing is, in a way, I was forced to lean on and trust people because I couldn't do it. I couldn't carry myself. And being able to lean on other people and trust what they were telling me, the advice that they were giving me, was huge for me, given where I come from and what I've been dealing with in my healing from Scientology. So in this crazy way, this whole grief process and losing Tony has forced me to lean on and trust other people and not be so fiercely hyper independent, because I wouldn't be getting through this by myself, and I'm not getting through this by myself. It's my friends, my family, all of you here being able to talk about it and share and hear your stories and your experiences as well. And hey, pause for Andrea. Hey, Hanratty. And I'm thankful for that because it's really forcing me to do that. That's the crazy thing about this, is it's forcing me to trust and lean on people. And I don't know that I would have gotten there. I would have liked to have gotten there a different way than with this loss, but I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing how important that is. Hey, Big Leaf Energy. Hi, first time seeing your channel. Out of curiosity, what kind of resources are out there for people leaving a cult? Perhaps not a traditional one. Are there terms that help the right care work? That is a very big question. It's something we talk about regularly on my channel. I think it depends. For a lot of people, therapy is a great route. Education, a lot of what I talk about on my channel is what to look for, recognizing cults, and in learning about Scientology, the cult I grew up in, it really shows, care workers, okay. I think it really helps people then spot those, because I'm shocked at how many there actually are and how they don't look like what you think they look like always. But I know therapy's been a good key. So in terms of care workers, hopefully that helps, but definitely stick around. It's a topic that we talk about a lot, a lot. So that's the first thing. I feel like I'm getting so much better at leaning on people and trusting them and not feeling like I have to do it all myself. I'm really trying not to. I still have a long way to go, but I've been just forced to. And it makes sense to me now when people say, lean on your people. Like, there's this community here. Even my Tony, you guys know, before he died, he came on my channel and did a few videos and talked about that, how this community would be there for me. Mike, hello. Have you received any blowback from the Scientology community? No. I mean, they try to, go and start trouble with people or, spread rumors about people who criticize Scientology. It's called fair gaming, but it's, the internet is full of trolls, whether they're with Scientology or not. So that's the thing about the internet is, Scientology doesn't have a monopoly on that type of behavior. But honestly, not really. Not like when I first left. When I first left 15 years ago and was vocal, yeah, I had my tire slashed, same tire, 2 times in 1 week. I was followed. And then Leah Remini's show came out, Scientology Aftermath, and it all stopped. They got bigger fish to deal with than me. And then I, kind of went on my life and then went on with my life and then got here on YouTube a little bit over a year ago. So not really. They're, Scientology, their staff in their office of special affairs that would do that work, they're understaffed. A lot of people have left. There are so many people speaking out that they can't keep track of all of us. They really can't. Janine, thank you. You're doing so incredibly. You keep his memory alive by talking about him and starring? Oh, sharing the amazing life you had with him. Yeah, that's the other thing I realized is it's okay to talk about him, which I do, but sometimes even that's hard, and that surprised me. That's something that I didn't know. I did not expect that it would be difficult to talk about him, which saying it out loud to me sounds really stupid. And the way I have found what helps with that is talking about him. And the reason why it's hard to is because it makes me cry. Because what I realized is I'm not lonely. I actually enjoy being by myself. Not all the time. I like being with people and my family. I'm very social. But what surprised me about this is I'm not lonely. I miss him. And that really surprised me. I thought it would feel different. And I don't know, I'm going to try and explain it. And some of you might have a more eloquent way of explaining this, but I'm surprised at how okay I am being on my own and being by myself, spending time, alone. I need a lot of that time to work through a lot of this. But I realize it's because I'm not lonely. I miss him. And so talking about him, it normalizes that. And I think it's something that I definitely need to do more. Skyfire, seeing someone else grieving reminds me to do the same. It helps so much. Yes, and I feel like we don't talk about this enough because it's upsetting. It's upsetting to talk about. But the crazy thing is, talking about it is what makes it better. Sharing about it is what makes it better. Talking about the people we lost does help. It's just really hard to do. I think and I don't know. Hey, Leo. Hey, Anita, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Dr. MLS, exactly. No one can fill their space. And I'm not trying to do that. It's him. I miss him. I want him. It's not a hole. It's just like it's like half of you gets cut off. And I feel like what's helped me is not trying to fill that and just solve it and make it all better, which is my nature, to want to solve problems and fix it and then, wrap it all up and move on from it. And that's grief has shown me it just doesn't work like that. Doug says, I got divorced after 22 years of marriage, 24 years together, then met a narcissist pathological liar. Oh, that sucks, Doug. That does suck. Big Leaf Energy says, grief for me at least is best experienced like a walk through a botanical garden. Experience it, feel it, everything, but walk quickly because I've got things to do. God, I relate to that so much. I really do. I really do. Level Up Dojo, you say you're in Scientology right now and need help. Shoot me an email, natalie@lifeafteroccult.com. Send me your phone number if you want to talk. But I would love to be able to help you. I've been out for about 15 years. Oh, that's great, Doug. Your stepdaughters are great, though. That's wonderful. I'm fortunate to have gotten two bonus kids who are now into adulthood. Between the two of us, we had 5. Level Up Dojo. You're afraid if your mother won't talk to you if you leave? Yeah, definitely email me. Janine says, no one can ever know your pain. We should never compare our pain, but to get through it, we have to lean into it to let it heal. Yeah, exactly. That's so much of it. And that's why I'm realizing that talking about it and leaning into my community, number one, I think it needs to be talked about more, because I hear from many of you who kind of, sometimes it's easy to want to just push it aside. And I'm trying not to do that, because that's what I did in Scientology, was push all these emotions aside and compartmentalize it, or thought I was. And then it comes out sideways. And I don't want to do that. That's great, Doug. So the other thing I realize is that nothing prepares you for it. I'm such a Virgo, like if there was like a playbook or a plan, things I could do to prepare, like I would have done it. I thought I was doing it. Robin Dickman, I think of my husband every day. Not all day anymore, but every day. I hear that. And yeah. But nothing prepares you for it. I thought I could prepare myself for this because we knew he was dying. And nothing prepares you for it. Looking back, I feel like, God, that was kind of a dumb idea. We talked a lot about what would happen after he died, while he was dying, what my life would look like. He wanted to talk about that more than I did. But I'm glad that we did. Because when he was alive, it's like he gave, not that he needed to give me permission, but he did give me permission to be happy. And that's what he said to me. I love you and I want you to have an amazing life. I know it's going to be hard. We talk about that, but getting back on, working on my channel again, just getting back to the things that bring me joy and that help me. And I'm so glad we did talk about that. But still, nothing prepared me for it. I had notice. You know what I'm saying? We didn't exactly know the timeline. Robin, that makes me so happy. I'm so glad. QD, I'm solo since 13 years. Sometimes, like you, I'm in sorrows and I'm missing him, but I'm better without him. I have a beautiful, healthy, wise 18-year-old daughter. I'm motivated to be healthy and strong. That is so awesome. I sometimes think, what would it have been better or worse if I lost him with no warning? And I mean, I can't really answer that because that's not what happened. There's something beautiful about having the opportunity to say goodbye, but there's also something incredibly traumatic. When you watch somebody that you love so much die. Tony was sick for almost 3 years and he never got better. No matter what we did, it just got worse. Janine says it's a strange conversation to have. How do you have it with your soulmate who's so young? Yeah. But I did come to this conclusion that as hard as it was, those last couple of years with his illness, I wouldn't trade it. Given a choice, I'd want that, because we had so many conversations we might not have never had, which made me feel now today, I'm like, we need to have those conversations with each other, with the people you care about, not just about the plans and what happens after. I mean, that, but just the idea of what you would want, for your partner. And because I had those conversations with Tony, I don't have any confusion or doubts of what he would want for me, or that it's okay for me to move on, continue on with my life. I don't feel like this is something we move on for. I think it moves with us. It just becomes more. We're better able to function is the best way I can think of describing it. But I definitely appreciate so much that I had that time, which is so weird. And that's something I've been processing. Like, how can I'm grateful that I had that time of knowing, but at the same time, it was horrible. It was so hard and painful on a daily basis. But at the same time, we found a lot of joy. I mean, you guys saw that if you saw the videos when Tony came on, and we found so much joy still. It was just really hard to, know what was coming. And in the beginning, you have hopes that, well, it'll get better. Maybe he can be in remission. And once he technically was in remission, but his kidney cancer was growing. He had 2 rare and aggressive forms of cancer. Yeah, Queen of Karma, that's a good point. Having mixed emotions about it is normal. Something like this can be both good and bad at the same time. Robin, thank you. I'll check my email. And I think that's the thing about it is, at the end of the day, we have no control over it. And I remember thinking, and I still feel this way, nobody wants to go through this. I don't want to go through this again. I've let the people that I love know, nobody's dying before me. I don't want to experience this again, but I have no control over that. So what do? Well, you live your life. You find all the joy that you can in each day. That's what helps me with my grief. That's something that I've learned, that one, it's okay to feel joy and laugh. And it's also okay to be sad and distraught and process. Alex, thank you. That's very kind. I really appreciate that. And I agree with you, Queen of Karma. I would not have changed things in terms of, not having that time with him, even as hard as it was for those last, there we go. Hey, Lisa Kelson. I appreciate that. We're just processing grief here and getting through. So that's the crazy thing. We have no control over it. I have no control over, when it was happening, I didn't have any control over it. Doctors were doing what they could. You just keep, you hope, you're afraid to hope. And then you get to the point where you realize that, at first we thought he'd have 5 years. Actually, no, at first we were thinking maybe 8 to 10, then 5. And that just got less and less. And when we found out his cancer had spread all over, it was 10 weeks from that point. And he deteriorated quickly from that point. He never really got better, but it got a lot worse. But he still laughed. And that's the thing I keep reminding myself of. If he can show up and face death, and the way he faced it is he faced it with curiosity. I would ask him, like, are you afraid? Are you afraid to die? What is that like? And he said no, he wasn't afraid. He said over and over again, the thing for him was leaving me and his kids. That's what he cared about. But he said he was curious about what happened afterwards, and he couldn't wait to find out. And he said that with enthusiasm, like, I can't wait to find out. I wish I wasn't dying. And I don't doubt that in part that was for me and for his boys, for our family. But he really felt that. And when you watch his videos when he was on, he didn't act like a man who was dying when you would think of what that would be like for somebody. He was still himself, and he found a lot of joy. And I thought, you know what? If he could do that, then maybe that's how I can still show up today now. curious about what's going to happen next. I think that's been a lesson for me too. If he faced death with curiosity of wondering what was going to happen next, what if I did that with my life in terms of, instead of stressing and worrying and, oh my gosh, is this ever going to get better? I'm curious to find out what happens next, while still wondering, oh my God, will this ever get better? And I know that it will, and it has in many, many, many ways. You know, the biggest thing, Lisa Kelson, Tony was a wonderful example of how to find joy in all this, in all things. He was a great example for all of us. And I find that inspiring still, because again, I'm like, if he lived the end of his life with that curiosity, then why can't I? I could still do that. And that helps. You know, that helps. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, half the time, I don't know what's going to happen in the day. I mean, I have an idea. I have a very organized to-do list on a monthly, weekly, and daily basis. But the last 9 months, what I've learned is best laid plans out the window. I don't know when I'm going to need a really good cry, or, you know, just need to express that grief. It's grief is very time consuming. That's the other thing I didn't realize or know. And you can't schedule it. Trust me, I tried. You can't schedule it. Thank you, Pause for Andrea. But the biggest thing lately that has really helped me is this. And I think if somebody would have told me this early on, after Tony died or when he was dying, I wouldn't have heard it. I wouldn't have believed it. It wouldn't have been real to me. And the thing that is helping me the most is really leaning, and it sounds so cheesy, leaning into gratitude. I would not have believed that for a second. And it is what's helping me. When I go through his things and I'm trying to decide what to keep, what to throw out, what to donate, I'm finding what helps me, because it's hard to like let go of things that I don't need. Like even I went through some stuff yesterday that I hadn't touched since he died, stuff from the hospital. And I had the book where I tracked all his meds and stuff. And there was so much space still in this book. And I'm like, could I use it? I'm like, no. Do I need any of this info? No. Why can't I let it go? And I held the book and I thought, you know what? Thank you, book. I'm so thankful that you helped me organize his medication. I mean, as if it was it's an inanimate object. I do know that. You helped me organize his medications, keep track of notes. I took it to every doctor's appointment. Thank you so much for that. And now you're just not needed anymore, but thank you. And it was easier to let go of it. And that seems to be the key thing in going through his clothes. Thank you for clothing him and being there, and then letting it go. Some things, of course, I'm keeping. And it's like magic. They're just, I can't even explain it. Maybe someone can explain it to me. But it's very, yeah, thank you, Mama Opal. Just ignore the trolls, y'all. They'll get rid of them. We're on a vertical live stream, and that YouTube pushes it out more, which is why they want creators to do it. But it's just par for the course. I would not have believed that. And it has been a lifesaver. It's been something that has helped me so much. And I've been trying to lean into that, and think, wow, like even my time with him, we had 11 years together. And I rather lean into the gratitude I feel that I had that. Tony loved me in a way I always wanted to be loved. And I got to experience that. A lot of people don't get to experience that. We were so attached. from the beginning, from the day we met, we were so drawn to each other, and it wasn't just physical. It was like magnets, just like sticking us together. And I mean, in our 11 years, we broke up a couple times and obviously got back together and worked through things, and we grew. I mean, I'm not exactly a cakewalk. I met him 2 years after I left a cult that I'd been in for 32 or for 35 years. That was a lot. Thanks, Janine. Yeah, the trolls don't bother me. I survived a human trafficking cult. It's going to take more than some words on a screen to get to me. Greggy, good to see you. And I've been so surprised by that. And I'm pretty sure people told me that too about, leaning into gratitude. And I just wasn't ready to hear it. And it just organically ended up happening that way. And I find myself thinking about the time that we had together and feeling so thankful for it. And the other thing that surprised me is I've never felt entitled to more time with him since he's died. Like, it's unfair. That's not the right word. I feel like, one, it's not my choice. It wasn't up to me. It wasn't up to him. But I'm so thankful for the time that we had. He was such a key part of my healing after Scientology, and the way that he loved me. I will always have that. I will always know what it means to be loved like that. Which, I mean, it's a pretty high bar. But I know what that looks like. I know what that feels like. I'll recognize that. And he showed me how to take care of myself. He encouraged me so much in self-care. There's so much that he did for me that I would not have done for myself. And since he died, I've been trying to do those things. It's like he spent 11 years showing me how to love me, which is amazing. How are you not grateful for that? That's right, Mock. How lucky are we to feel the grief, because it's the price we pay for love. I agree. I wish our noses didn't run when we cry. Queen of Karma, thank you. You deserved it. I haven't been here long, but I can tell you're a genuinely good person. I appreciate that. I'm kind of a hot mess, but I mean well. I mean well, and I do try. Robin, that's incredible. We keep saying the same things at the same time. Janine, yes, he came into your life for a season, for a purpose, to help you heal from the cult. I really think so. To help me heal from Scientology and to show me how to take care of me. And like I said, mostly how to love myself. Because that's not something that I think I was good at, because kind of like when you're in a cult, it's not, the focus isn't so much on you and taking care of yourself and loving yourself. It's about giving everything to the group. In Scientology, the group always comes first. Yeah, Queen of Karma, I agree. Being vulnerable on here is hard, but it's important for your healing and to help others heal. It's appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, Leo. Yeah, Stephen, this is a great community. It truly is. It's like I tell everybody, I'm like, my chat is like my emotional bubble wrap. And for some reason, it's easier. As hard as it is to still talk about this, it's easier for me to talk about it with you guys here on YouTube than in person. And I think, for whatever reason. But this whole idea of realizing like how fortunate I feel has kind of blown my mind. I didn't expect that at all. Back again, there we go. I just thought that, I don't know what I thought. I don't know. I guess I thought I would be nonstop on the floor a mess, and I'm not. And in large part because it's like, I know, hey, I got to get up and I have to get back to work and do things on my channel and do all of that. And that helps. I mean, work is like a default for me. But I'm not doing it to the level that I used to. I'm just not there. Diana says, unfortunately, no one knows what grief is like unless they have gone through it. Lost my wife just over 2 years ago. Still hurts every day. I get that. It's an interesting thing that losing your person is so painful, but it also highlights how much they meant to you and what that experience was like and what that love felt like. And having that appreciation and gratitude for that is what just blows my mind. And when I lean into that, that feels good. That feels right. Because, you know, I can't, no matter how much I cry or I'm upset, he's not coming back. You know, you're just forced to figure it out. But we all are. You know, so many people have lost people, and if you haven't, that's fantastic. But spoiler alert, you will. It sounds like a crappy thing to say, but we don't have control over it. But leaning into those feelings of being, like, really realizing how fortunate I was to have that, it's a game changer. So I feel that, I think that's been the biggest thing that I've learned so far, that I wish I would have known earlier. But how do you know it until you go through it? You have to realize it yourself. It doesn't matter if somebody tells you that. But that whole leaning into gratitude, whoever the person is that you lost, because at the end of the day, it's like it's gonna happen. We're all gonna die. Everybody's gonna die. It's part of life. And even though it's a sad part of life, maybe that's why we should appreciate the people that we do love more now, today. I think that has been really slammed home to me as well. That, like, one thing, I mean, Tony and I, way before he got sick, we were always with the I love yous and expressing our appreciation of each other. And it wasn't perfect. We had our ups and downs. I mean, we broke up a couple times, but it was beautiful. And the great times were great, and the crappy, ugly times were crappy and ugly. But it was more, you know, good. It was more joyful. He brought so much more to my life, and I with him too, and we appreciated each other. And I'm so glad that we did live our life that way, because he knew how much I appreciated him and loved him, and I knew how much he appreciated and loved me. But that really makes me realize, like, I want to be more appreciative. I want to show that more with the people in my life today, who I care about, who I love, who, you know, who are here now, friends, family, bank tellers. I feel like I have this whole new appreciation for people. And as part of that, I also feel like I have more understanding and tolerance for when people are maybe not showing up as their best selves. Airdrie, thank you so much. And when somebody does something that maybe rubs me the wrong way, it doesn't hit the same. I don't know how to explain it. You just, you know, we all go through different things. That saying, you never know what somebody's going through, I think is kind of the thing. Oh, Airdrie, you're a hospice nurse. God bless. That is a tough job. Exactly, Bridge 1872. We all need to give and be given grace. And even for ourselves, that's the thing too that I've been working on, is trying to be kinder to myself about it. Letting myself, being okay with not being as productive as I once was. Maybe it'll come back. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I really don't know. Oh, woke, I divided. Really hope you remember me today. Remember, today was the day you started your channel in 2023. I was your first subscriber. I'm really happy to be part of your family and your success. I appreciate that. Thank you. That is so cool. Yeah, it was December. 2023. Queen of Karma says, yeah, I have to practice lots of self-care and being kind. I have CPTSD from past abuse as a kid, so I have to give myself grace a lot. Yeah, exactly. And it just makes such a difference. And it's something that's so simple and that we can do for each other. And I know it's hard sometimes. It's, when other people don't show up as their best selves, or let's be honest, just as a-holes, as we sometimes do too, that can be, difficult. But I just feel like if we just look at it like, hey, everybody has a hard time. And mostly I've realized like it has nothing to do with me. Which sounds weird. Your issue with me has nothing to do with me. It depends on who it is. Thank you, Northern Girl, for that reminder. Double tap the screen. And if you're not already subscribed, check it out. I talk a lot. I'm talking a lot more about grief as I go through this. And I'm finding in ways that it's showing me in ways how far I've come from leaving Scientology. But at the same time, it's like it pushes you back. I left Scientology. 2 years later, I met my Tony, and then, had my life with him, and he helped me so much. And then losing him is just felt like it's just pulled the rug out from under me. And I'm figuring out how, to build a new life. I don't want to say rebuild a life because I just don't feel that way. It's like it'll never be the same, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be good. And I feel strongly, because Tony always said over and over and over again, I want you to be happy. I want you to go out there and find happiness and joy and peace. And so when I'm struggling, I think about that. Like, okay, what do I need in this moment? Do I need to cry? Do I need to clean? For me, that's a default. What is that? I'm getting more comfortable with that. Queen of Karma, that's a great point. It's not just regression. You're just experiencing grief outside of the cult. It's not regression, but it makes sense. Yeah, because it's like, what are the tools to deal with it? Because I can't just put it in a box and stick it away, which is what I would have done in the cult. Mox says, once you understand that you get to decide how personal you take anything given, if it's meant personally, gives you so much freedom. That is so true. I feel like that's my superpower. I'm like, I can't control the people. I can't control what other people do or say. None of us can. So I'm just going to focus on me, do my thing. I kind of got a lot on my plate. Try to be there for other people as well, which is why I love this channel, being able to talk and share with all of you. And hey, Julie McGuire. Oh, Mama Opal, put it on the shelf. That's what Mormons do when they can't understand something and no one explains it to them until that shelf breaks. That's a great way of putting it. I'm not putting it on the shelf. The damn shelf is broken. There is no shelf. That's where I'm at. There's no shelf. I have no choice but to just deal. And I want to, I want to continue to heal. Well, I know that I will. Thank you, Robin. Yeah, everything we go through makes us who we are. And who am I to question? For whatever reason, and again, we're all going to experience loss. Although, like I said, I've told everybody I care about, nobody's dying before me. And I plan on living well into my 90s, so we'll see about that. Hello, Fabio from Italy. How fabulous. Hey, Buttercup49. Let's see. I made a couple notes. I think I kind of touched on it all. The other reason why I wanted to do these videos and talk to you guys about it, one, it helps me to process it, because for some reason it's easier for me to open up on the internet than even kind of doing a one-on-one. But I want to be able to look back on this, and I want to be able to remember the things that I learned along the way, the things that we learned along the way, and sharing this with all of you too. And, maybe too, that'll help you as well. I want to go back. I've not gone back yet and watched. I've watched pieces of the videos that Tony did, but I've not watched them all the way through. I want to. I've just not been able to do it yet. Today is a really nice day, or I do it today, but I think I want to get outside. And by get outside, I mean clean the garage. Airdrie, I learned 2 weeks ago, one of my dearest friends had passed, and I'd wondered why she hadn't answered my text. COVID made less vigilant about staying in touch with friends. Yeah, that's the other thing is I realize it's so easy, especially when you have a job where you work from home, to not leave the house. I did leave the house today. I had to go to work on my other job and attend some continuing education in person. And I'm doing some of those in person because I need to leave the house. And I'm getting things going on another podcast that I do locally because, again, it's going to force me to engage again with my community like I did before, because it's too much in my nature to just be happy just staying home. I need to engage with other people more in person. I feel like I engage with a lot of people online, which I love, but doing that in person as well. Airdrie, that's so hard. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That's right, Mock. I need to get outside and touch some grass. And the snow melted, so maybe I will just take my socks off. I think it's like 50-something degrees, but for Minnesota, that's unusually balmy out. It really is. But I think I'm going to do that. And then clean the garage. Maybe. Yeah, Skyfire. I know, me too. I don't know. I'm a homebody. But yes, Bridge, in-person connections are truly important. That's why I need to get going again on a bunch of stuff. And I'm ready for some of it. It's like that next step. Whoa, Robin, it's 71 in Missouri? Whoa. That's crazy. Makes me almost want to get my car and drive south. Wow. Oh, I'm jealous. I thought it was like balmy here at 50-something. Wow. That blows my mind. Well, gosh, I hope you're getting outside. Mary says, I try to hide all month of March. Crafting now. We have 70 degrees in North Carolina. That's fantastic. Oh, Donna, that's interesting. I didn't see that. I'll have to take a look at that. If it's possible, I hope so. That's the thing. It's like life is too short. It's so cliche, but it's so true. It's like, how do we want to spend our time? Where do we want to invest our energy or spend the time that we have? I don't really want to spend it, in turmoil with anybody. That's true, Greggy. Wow, 30 in Alaska. I've not been to Alaska, Skyfire, but I have family who's been. So I was born and raised in Hawaii, and for some people, not me, but other people in Hawaii wanted to go to Alaska. Probably because it's the total opposite, and I already live in Minnesota, so I get my share. I get my share of cold. So I'm going to, I think I'm going to get outside. I've been trying to journal a bit more and write some of this stuff down. But mostly, I guess I'm using YouTube almost as a video journal. So I can look back on it too. Today, I mean, so Almost every time I would leave the house, I would end up crying either on the way somewhere or on the way back. And I've gone out and done a few things where, and I'm not crying every time anymore. That's progress. That's a win. I even told someone that Tony died, and for the first time didn't cry when I said it. That was a first. That just happened a couple weeks ago. So again, I feel like progress. Like I'm taking the wins when stuff like that happens that I can celebrate and feel like, whoa. Doesn't mean it's going to be like that every time. There are going to be times probably when I still cry when I tell somebody that he died. But the fact that, I did it once and twice now, I think, without, completely breaking down was good. And I'm more like I want to talk about him more, which is why I want to go watch those videos too, because I think I've thought so much about him being sick that it's easy to forget all the years that he wasn't sick. And that's what I want to remember. Mary, it's freezing where I am, but I'm going to go try and do some grounding today. I want to, think about those times because he was, we were together for 11 years. He was sick for almost 3, but that's 8 years of him not being sick, which is the majority of the time. That's right, Robin. Today's a gift. That's why it's called the present. I still feel that. Oh, Mary, I didn't know you could do it inside. I wear socks a lot. I should take my socks off. Oh, a cute pumpkin clodhopper. You love the story of how we met? Yeah, not many people can say they met at a baby shower. Greggy says, one of my mom's sayings is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Oh my God, Tony said that to me all the time. Keep handling the grief one day, one step at a time. You're doing great. I appreciate that, Greggy. Every time I would be overwhelmed with something, be like, I don't know how I'm going to get this done. I have all this to do. And he would say, well, like an elephant, one bite at a time. Sometimes I found that annoying, but most of the time I was like, yes, that's right. Just one step at a time, one bit at a time. And that's what I'm trying to do. One step at a time. That is really wise advice. Yeah, Queen of Karma, I think is meant to read that comment for sure. So I'm going to go outside now, and then I got to go prep for tomorrow's show. Tomorrow is Thursday, so I'm doing a Scientology recap at 9 a.m. Central Time. Hope to see you guys there. But thank you for being here, and thank you for listening. And if you catch this on a replay, I want to hear from you in the comments. And share your stories too, because I think there's a lot of support here, especially within the chat, of you guys being able to support each other as well. And me. And I love you guys for it, and I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. Thank you to the moderators for always just jumping in too. You ladies are amazing. All right, you guys. So that's all I know. I will see you tomorrow. I hope you guys get outside too, wherever you are. I'm going to try some grounding. I got to go find some grass. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. I will talk to you soon.